Hey all, here OS Reviews. It's 2018 and home automation is getting more and more popular. Today we're taking a closer look at a robot vacuum cleaner by Alfawise, a brand that you've probably associated more with Android TV boxes, computer accessories. They also make projectors and 3D printers, but this is one of their first home appliances. It's the cheapest robot vacuum cleaner available at $140, significantly cheaper than Xiaomi's robot vacuum cleaner, in addition to iRobot cleaners, which can sell for hundreds of dollars more. It's also cheaper than the iLife A4S that we reviewed last year, which was already a pretty low-cost option. Inside, we have a user manual that documents all the various features, how to program it, and there's also a remote control. What's funny is the design is very similar to their Android TV box remotes, and it doesn't have a display. It takes two AAA batteries underneath the cover, which is not included. Here it is next to the iLife A4S remote, which does have a built-in display there. Underneath, we have just the robot cleaner and also the charging dock, which it can find automatically when the battery is running low, which is pretty cool. Now, another accessory that is really neat is they include a infrared wall blocker. So this is a feature that we saw on the iRobots that the iLife A4S did not include. You can place the sensor anywhere and the robot will stay clear of almost this virtual line and it's not going to cross it. So it can be useful if you don't want it to leave a particular room. Underneath the vacuum cleaner, we also have two spare replacements. And here's the wireless charging cradle. There is an LED light on the very top, and there is the AC adapter on the side. A closer look at the design of the robot cleaner, there are a few interesting things. For one, the dustbin is not on the side, but rather on the top. You can push on it, and then it pops up where you can access the dust filter. You'll find a very small brush for easy cleaning, and you can also lift this entire compartment up to then dump everything out. Closing the compartment, there are two other interesting things. First of all, the top little sensor here, which we also see on the Xiaomi Mi robot vacuum cleaner, that's the infrared sensor. It uses that to detect the location of the home base, as well as the tracker here to prevent it from going on to a different room. Thirdly, we also have a display on the cleaner itself where you can see how long it's been activated as well as which mode it's currently using. So again, instead of having the display built onto the remote control, they've built the display onto the robot. The top wheel here is omnidirectional. These are the two contact points for charging, and this is where the, again, dust gets sucked into the vacuum compartment. Finally, I'll mention that just like other robot vacuum cleaners, the top here can be compressed so that if it accidentally hits a wall or surface, it's not going to damage it, provide some shock absorbency. A quick size comparison, let's pop this onto the charging dock here, and you'll see it lights up. There's also voice prompts. So as you can hear, it will talk to you when it's charging and changing modes, which is, I think, a pretty cool feature. All right, so comparison in terms of size with the iLife A4S that we talked about previously, you can see the iLife is a little smaller.
Hello, Master. I am glad to serve you.
Some takeaways from the performance: just like the iLife remote, which uses infrared, the distance is 4 meters, so you do need to be in a relatively close environment for it to work. If you're trying to control it through a different wall or in a different room, it's not going to be functional. What you can do is also set clocks and schedules directly using the display, so you can have it vacuum, for instance, at noon every day of the week or every Monday, for instance, which works quite well. The battery capacity is able to last me about an hour and a half of vacuuming before it runs out, and it returns to the base automatically. And in terms of the actual vacuuming performance, there are 3 modes, which we saw: the zigzag mode, there's that edge mode that just cleans the corners of a room, and there's also spot cleaning if you want to very extensively clean one area that has gotten maybe dirty or if you spilled something. Now again, this is going to work only on carpeted surfaces, so this is not a cleaner that I would recommend if you have marble floors or too many wood floors, especially because this model doesn't have a water tank, so it doesn't actually spray the floor, for instance, to scrub it, which is more effective on hard surfaces. But on carpets, it works really well. And again, the tank size here is larger than the iLife at about 700 milliliters. So you're able to get pretty much a full tank of the dirt every single time that I use it in the room. So it does effectively remove a lot of, again, dust from your environment. So overall, I was quite impressed. When I tried it out on some corners and some rooms, I felt like it got a very effective sweep when I left it there to just work for about an hour, 2 hours, and it pretty much reached all the corners and all the areas without any issues. With that being said, more expensive robots, again like Xiaomi's Mi Robot Vacuum, does have built-in AI, so it does actually create a virtual map of locations it's visited specifically to prevent going to the same place twice. Now, the only downside would be the wheels. Sometimes they can get so caught up in things like wires. So just like other robots, make sure you don't have any kind of dangling wires and charging cables on the floor when you are having it operate. Even though they are pretty rugged and larger in terms of diameter than past generations, I would still say that it can get tangled up by smaller wires, and when it does, the algorithm or sensors on the wheels aren't the most sensitive on this model, so sometimes they'll be running there for a minute or two before it stops. So all in all, I think that this is an excellent value at only 140 bucks. It's not only the cheapest robot vacuum cleaner, but I'd say it's better than the iLife A4S with a larger dustbin, with more complete features like that virtual wall and that smart prompt, which tells you when the dustbin is full, tells you when it's beginning a vacuum by schedule, things like that, in addition to just being overall very well performing. So again, check out more details in the links down below, but for now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.